Hey guys, what's up? I'm Shin0555 here, coming at you with a new series called TextBox, where it is a series where it's just gamers talking about games. And for this first episode, I have my good friend here, Lorp Survival Horror. Feel free to say hi, Lorp.
Hi, what's up?
Yep. I'm here with Lorp, and we're gonna be talking about survival horror games, kind of the like rise, fall, kind of the history, just survival horror really in general. And but before we get started, please go check out Lorp's channel. I will leave a link down in the description below and also in the pinned comment. So definitely go check him out. Makes really solid videos, especially if you like the survival horror games like the classic like Resident Evil, Silent Hills. Definitely go check his channel out. He does really good work. And yeah, and like, comment, subscribe to my channel as well. I appreciate that. But with that said, let's dive into today's topic, which is survival horror. So, Lorp, where would you want to start? Would you want to talk about the, like the origins, like kind of like Resident Evil 1, kind of like on the PlayStation? Is that where you want to start?
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 1 will be a good start. I always like to start with it because it defines the whole genre.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, I would start there.
Yeah, I would, like, personally, it's just like, you could tell me that, like, Resident Evil 1 was the first horror game, and I'd believe you. I believe you. That's where it all started.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that's like the first game that's like horror in a similar form we have today. Right before there, I played Clock Tower, and like nothing is really as gory or just as scary in general. Also with like the jump scares, there wasn't a lot of that before. I talked about System Shock a bit in one of my videos. And I like it like, did you play System Shock?
I have watched, like, a playthrough of it. I have not played through it myself, though.
Yeah, okay. Because like it has a lot of gore, which is similar to Resident Evil, like limbs or stuff like that, but it doesn't really has the horror. Like you don't have jump scares in that game. So
Yeah.
like yeah, like really, you could say the first Resident Evil was the first horror game.
Yeah,
Simply
and, like,
because it's
like,
yeah.
Resident Evil 1 for me, it kind of feels like, because, like, before that, it's like you had games like Night Trap and, like, other things that were kind of horror-esque, but it was really Resident Evil that kind of solidified the genre in that, like, it felt like you were actually, like, in the game playing it, where it's like you were in, like, real danger at that moment. Like with the zombies, and I remember like the dogs. I hate video game dogs to this day because of that game. And I think really like RE1 is kind of where that started.
Yeah, definitely, especially because there was Resident Evil 2 just 2 years later, and then everything was already in that trend. Like you had so many other companies trying to do the same, which is actually similar to today with all the remakes of Dead Space and Silent Hill and such.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, and like the Resident Evil 3 trilogy, like the 1, 2, 3, I guess even like Code Veronica, that like preset camera angle tank control game, there's just something about it that just goes so well with like that type of survival horror genre. Because you got games like Dino Crisis that also was like Resident Evil with dinosaurs, but then they went more into like action, like right in the second game. Like Parasite Eve did that as well, where it was like, it's survival horror, but we want to make it more action oriented now. But like Resident Evil really took its time with the first 3 games, not really like making it super action focused with that first like trilogy.
In general, apart from the spin-offs, everything until Resident Evil 4 was just horror.
Hmm.
Right. After Code Veronica had a bit more action, I would say, but like the Resident Evil remake 2 years later is like the pinnacle of survival horror. So there was that again,
Yeah.
and even Resident Evil 4 has still a decent amount of horror when you ignore the action.
Mm. Yeah, I've actually started replaying Resident Evil 4 again, and it's so good. That beginning half of that game is so well
I love
done.
that. I personally I don't hate, but I dislike the second part of the game, like from the island. I really don't enjoy it, but all of the village part is like so good, and you don't really have that in any other game, like that exact atmosphere.
Yeah.
Not even in the Resident Evil 4 remake.
Mm. Yeah, no, like, because like playing through, I think I just stopped right at the part where you go on that like elevator thing, like right after you save Ashley, and like you're going down the elevator, like like ski lift thing, and like the guys are coming up and you have to like shoot them off. I just did that part, and it's like the game gets scarier for me when you actually have Ashley with you in that first half, because it's not just like, oh man, I have to like survive this. It's like you have to not only survive but also protect someone too. And I just think like that, like the first time playing that, it's just like so mind-blowing, and just like it adds to the terror that's like, oh shit, I gotta like keep someone else alive now.
Yeah, especially because it's also just a lot more stress. I have that in every horror game where you have to escort somebody. That's just like when you're alone, like what can be the worst that can happen? But like with another character, it's always difficult.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I think
yeah,
like,
I even have that.
oh, what? I'm sorry, you go.
Yeah,
go
sorry. I think that's even to a certain part like that in the co-op Resident Evil games. That are like, I'm always a bit more chill when I'm alone in these games, because you just have to look after yourself. It's just a bit easier.
Yeah, I think like Ashley was a good, especially in the first half. The second half she gets kind of annoying when she keeps getting like kidnapped, but the first half, it like, since she can't fight back, it was a really interesting dynamic. But you got like Resident Evil like 5 and 6, where it's just like a co-op experience where you're both capable and able to fight back. It's a lot different when you have like this AI controlled like defenseless person with you.
Definitely, especially because Ashley just follows Leon. So she like in the remake it's a different story, but in the original she doesn't really do anything. She just does exactly what you tell her.
Yeah.
And I think they actually did that very well in that game, because it just like Ashley is only annoying if you don't play the game properly. So I think they did that very well.
Yeah. And like, this is kind of unrelated, but I've noticed like a pattern with the Resident Evil games, where it's like you have the first trilogy, I guess technically Code Veronica, but Code Veronica's a spin-off, but it's like you have Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, which are all like the preset camera angle tank control style. Then you have 4, 5, and 6, which is the over-the-shoulder like action style. And then we have Resident Evil 7 and 8 that are like the first-person style. So I don't know if it, like, Capcom ever came out and said like this isn't intentional, but I think if we ever get a Resident Evil 9, it'll be like the first-person camera angle, and then maybe for 10 they'll like change it up again. Because like I just find it funny that there's like a series, like each trilogy kind of has its own play style.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but to be honest, I think it's just a coincidence, like just something that happened from the trends at the time. And I think I would be more surprised if Resident Evil 9 is also in first person because the Rose DLC was already in third person again in
Yeah.
Resident Evil Village.
Mm.
So I would be surprised, to be honest. But yeah, it's like that pattern is definitely interesting, and it's always like I think in the head of a lot of people, like when they see that series, you just have that, that, and that.
Mm.
Of course, like there's still Code Veronica, Zero, the remake, so it's not exactly like that, but you can definitely separate the series into that parts, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I've never heard like anyone do like an interview or something saying that was like definitely intentional. Like, yeah, we do that for every trilogy where we just change it, but it was just a fun little pattern that I noticed.
Yeah.
But I think Resident Evil is a good series to talk about like horror in general because it does cover all the like different types of trends throughout the years. Like it adapts to them. So like the like preset camera angle era, and then you had the action third person era, and then you had like the first person era. And it seems like Resident Evil is a good like reflection point for where horror is.
Yeah, especially because Resident Evil is just very big and exists for so long. Like Resident Evil was always present since survival horror was invented with Resident Evil 1.
Mm.
But just a very good reference to the trends of the times. Like now we have a mix of survival horror and action games, and now it's goes to third person again, like even in the indie market to a certain degree. But yeah, definitely agree on that. Like for example, if you have Silent Hill, Silent Hill didn't exist for over 10 years now. Like the remake releases in 3 months, I believe. But there wasn't a game since 2012, and that wasn't even particular well received.
Yeah.
Was
that the Vita game?
No, the Vita game was Origins. No, not even Vita. I'm not sure if they ever released a game on Vita. Like there was Book of Memories in 2016 or so.
Yeah, I think that was
but I like to ignore
technically
that.
the last Silent Hill game was like this weird like Diablo like dungeon crawl. Yeah.
But to be honest, I just ignore that.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Honestly, I'm a big like Vita guy, so I actually do have it, and I do like enjoy the game. But like as like a Silent Hill game, I'm like, this is so terrible that this was the last game you guys made. Like this was really bad.
I have never even watched gameplay of it.
Yeah, no,
I completely forget about that game.
Yeah, no, it's just weird. Again, it's like a fairly decent dungeon crawling game, but for like a Silent Hill game, I still can't believe like, okay, we're just gonna end on this note. You could have at least made like one more remake or a re-release of something, just so Book of Memories wasn't like your closing point for 10 years.
Yeah, if I had released that game in like 2010 or so, it would have been a different story. But like that was the last we've seen of that series for so long. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, and it's like I love Silent Hill. Like I'd say
I
like
too.
Silent Hill more than Resident Evil as like a game because I really like that the town, the psychological elements. I think it all comes together really good. I think that it's a lot harder to pull off as like a story. So that's why a lot of like Silent Hill games like struggle and it didn't catch on like Resident Evil. But when Silent Hill, they do it right, they do it so good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What for me, like, what I noticed recently that Silent Hill feels more real and more dangerous. Like in Resident Evil, the tank controls, but the characters also kind of feel like a tank because like nothing can really hurt you. Yeah, even when a zombie bites you or something, you can just heal.
Yeah.
And the characters don't bleed. They don't mention anything. They just go on. And Silent Hill is in comparison just brutal. I don't know if it's like that in later entries, but in Silent Hill 1, when you get damaged, you bleed, and the enemies bleed, and all the controls are also kind of not as precise.
Yeah.
I think it gets better with Silent Hill 2, but in the first Silent Hill, it feels like more like a actual human who is maybe a bit starved, a bit disorientated. Is that a word?
Yeah, it's like it feels like you're less trained. Like
Yeah,
it almost works like thematically because like in Resident Evil, they're all like police officers or army. They have some type of like combat background, but in Silent Hill, you're usually like a normal person who wouldn't have that combat background. So it almost works in their favor that like the controls aren't as sharp or work as well, because you could just say gameplay or like story-wise, this person wouldn't know how to handle like a combat situation as well as like the Resident Evil cast.
I think in like Resident Evil, you could replace the characters with robots, and it wouldn't make a difference in how they play. But in Silent Hill, it would make a big difference.
Yeah.
And what I kind of enjoy to play Resident Evil games more because it just feels more gamey and more chill. But Silent Hill 2 is definitely better for the horror. Because
like I feel like I'm kind of the same way. Like I can always jump into playing a Resident Evil game. Like I just started like jumping into Resident Evil 4 and it just feels right. I could just play it. It's just like a fun game, like a game in general. With Silent Hill, I can't just pick up and play those games. I have to be in like the right mindset to want to play a Silent Hill game.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm the same.
Yeah, like like just that like atmosphere, and like Silent Hill doesn't like play as well as a game. It's kind of like slower. There's like more like weird obscure puzzles. But it's a game that like when I want to be in that like very melancholy like atmosphere, that's the only time I can really like sit down and play through a Silent Hill game.
Yeah. I think it's a bit of a shame because the games are so good, but it's exactly like that for me too. I could always pick up a Resident Evil game and just be nice. That's fun. But with a Silent Hill game, it's like like you said, a bit different. I think in that aspect, actually, Silent Hill 2 is the easiest to pick up for me because the enemies aren't just like. I didn't play it on hard, so I don't know how that is, but at least on normal, the enemies aren't a real threat. At least in my opinion, because like you have plenty of ammo, you can like I remember playing it, and I would in the horror game would run after enemies and try to kill them with my stick or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like for example, Silent Hill 3 is fucking terrifying. Like, you just go in a room and you have 30 things screaming at you. So I think like just in the aspect of chill playing, Silent Hill 2 may actually be my favorite. Even though the story and everything is super depressing.
Yeah, no, Silent Hill 3, that opening is rough. I actually died like a couple times before I even got to like the real game. Or no, I think you have to die. No, because you get up to the part where you get hit with the roller coaster, then you wake up in the mall.
Yeah.
I think if you die before then, it's like a game over, or you might wake up if you die early on in the game. I can't remember how it works, but I remember like the beginning of Silent Hill 3 is like genuinely hard.
I think that's I think that's in general a part of Silent Hill 3, because you have many rooms with. Like, you have this, I don't know how they are called, but like these enemies that crawl on the ground and stun lock you. Like, they are, I remember they are a lot in the hospital, I think. and like you just have a lot of enemies that are super big and hard to dodge. Like also these dogs again in the mall, and also these big enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
understand why you struggle there.
Yeah. Honestly, personally, I think the scariest Silent Hill game is 4, the room. And I think the scariest part about that game is like they do this really cool like subversion where like the first half of the game is like your room is like your safe spot where it's just like this is where you go, you do your item thing, you like save, you can actually like relax, and then like the later half of the game that you actually can start getting like attacked and like the haunting can like come into the room. I thought that was terrifying.
Yeah. So I Silent Hill 4 is a bit weird for me because for some reason I never find it to be that scary.
Yeah.
And like it's really weird. Like I like the hauntings because I think it's very interesting with what they came up, like the things out of the wall and everything. But I don't think I was really scared. I remember there are this weird sounds, I think, like from the radio and everything, like always. And obviously the resources with the candles.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, the scary Silent Hill would probably 3, simply because of the sound design. But yeah, I get why people will choose Silent Hill 4.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, but it never really did it for me.
No, I just remember like playing Silent Hill 4 and then like being in your room and then getting your first haunting in the room and just realizing nothing is safe anymore. That's like playing like Resident Evil and like you go in the save room and you hear like the music and everything, and then Nemesis just like opens the door and walks in. It's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No.
I think there's a game where there's no save room like that, but I don't remember which one. Like in the Resident Evil 3 remake, there's one time where that can happen. Oh yeah, and in Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Like, did you play it?
I have not played Alien Isolation. I played the 3 remake, but not Alien Isolation.
Yeah. Because when you save in that game, the alien can actually still get you.
Yeah.
So always you have to be on your toes.
Yeah. Well, I think the scariest part is when you establish like a rule that like, okay, when you're in the safe room, you're safe. Nothing can get you. And like you keep it consistent. And then when you break that rule, like when the game breaks that rule on you, that's really scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Also, I just want to add the other terrifying thing about Resident Evil is the ink ribbons. Because I never ran out of ink ribbons to save your game, but just the idea of, like, I won't be able to save my game terrified me.
Yeah, I remember playing Code Veronica for the first time, and like in the first hour or so, you got, I think, 2 ink ribbons, and I'm not scared of running out of them anymore as much, but I remember like when I started playing survival horror games, that I was like, for myself, I looked at the clock, and then I was like, okay, now I have to play 20 minutes, then I can save. And it was very stressful.
Yeah, it's like I've never played a Resident Evil game where I ran out of ink or was ever even like close to running out, because like in the first couple games, like as soon as you get to a save point, they give you like 3, and then like every like new save point, they give you like an ink ribbon. So it's like I never ran out, but the idea that I could potentially run out, I thought was terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's kind of with all resources. Like I always hoard everything like crazy, even though I never need it. But especially like you can save. But in general, I'm a bit torn apart with ink ribbons because I think it's great for the horror. But I'm always like, what if I have to do something and can't save?
Yeah, or what if like something happens where I want to try something, like I want to like save here because I have like 2 paths to go down, and then like I want to check out one path and then load my game back and then check my, like I might not have an ink ribbon for that.
Yeah.
And like I'm a compulsive saver, so like I will like anytime I get to, I save my game like 2 or 3 times, just because I don't know, I'm just compulsive about it. But like when I play like Resident Evil and I have like the ink ribbons, it's like you don't have the luxury of doing that.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's just like I hate it.
Oh,
I hate it. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like this.
oh. I looked up the numbers for the Resident Evil remake, I think, and like on easy there are like 60 ink ribbons or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my game, and then I look at the end and I saved like
70?
25 times at most, and then I'm like, oh, I still had 30 in my item box. I think it's very funny, but especially like when playing these games for the first time, like, oh no.
Yeah, just the idea that there could be a scenario in the future where like something happened and I can't say, like, I think it would be like, this would be nerve-wracking if they made like a classic Resident Evil game and they had a thing where like either have like a character or a monster steal your ink ribbons on you for a section of the game. I would lose my, I might not be able to play that game anymore.
That would be interesting.
Like that might be too scary for me to play that game anymore. I'd be like, I give up. You win.
I think I will. That's a hard thing. I want to see that in a game just to see how it is.
Yeah,
because
yeah, just like establish.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because like that, however long that section, like I don't know, like it's some like side character, but they steal like your bag or whatever, and it had all like your ink ribbons in it. So like until you meet that character and get your bag back, it's like you can't save. It's just like, oh, that would be awful. Oh man, why didn't one of the games do that? I don't think they were that mean back in the day when they were making games.
It can still happen today.
Yeah.
But I don't think. Have you ever heard of an indie game called Alisa?
I might be thinking
Probably
of
not.
Lisa. Is it like a?
No, just really.
No, it's something different. Because I know the indie game is like Lisa, but that's like a 2D, like pixel type game.
I don't know what that. Like it's really called Alisa. It's like a survival horror that I think it came out in 2021. It's all like they went with or it's just one developer. He went with like the PS1 graphics style and everything, and made basically a PS1 survival horror. And like when you kill an enemy, they drop money, similar to, for example, Resident Evil 4. And to save, you have to spend money.
Ooh.
But you also need that money to buy items and everything.
That's intense.
I played through the game to, I think, the halfway point, and I still haven't finished it. Because the thing is, in that game, it's not that easy. At least it wasn't for me when I played it. And there was the same, like, I didn't want to save that much because I wanted to have the money.
Yeah.
But then it happened that I played that was a bit weird, but I always played for like 20 minutes and then I died. Then I knew what was wrong. Then I played that 20 minutes again.
Yeah.
Then sometime I saved. Then I played 20 minutes again, and then I died again.
Yeah.
I have like 2 hours of progress, but 4 hours of playtime.
Playtime, yeah.
I think it's a very cool concept and very interesting to that you have to pay for your saves with in-game money, but it's also like it can lead to frustration. Like that was even worse in ink ribbons. Like ink ribbons are just a item that you need to save, and you have plenty of them, and like are never really in a threat of running out.
Yeah.
But it's like you just are like you said, like what happens if I ran out of them? But yeah, to be honest, I didn't like the paying to save.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I remember
in general,
yeah. I had a friend, and he had an idea for like a horror game he wanted to make, but one of the things he actually wanted to like implement was very similar to what you said about the money saving system, but it would be like the way he wanted it to work was anytime you wanted to save your game, you'd save at like a bathroom, and the save, like the ink ribbon equivalent, would have been toilet paper. So you'd have to go around the game like finding like rolls of toilet paper, and it's like that would be able to make you like save your game in the bathroom. And then like the Resident Evil like 4 style merchant would be in like one of the stalls like next to the save point, and you could buy items from him by selling him toilet paper for like guns and ammunition and like healing items and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds very similar.
Yeah. So I'm glad someone was able to like implement that idea in a game.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think it's cool, but very frustrating.
Yeah, it's just like don't make it where like I can't save. I think another terrifying thing to do, and I haven't seen like a horror game do this yet, or not one that at least I know of, have an enemy that can delete your save file. So like if you get hit by this enemy,
would be horrible.
Your save file gets deleted until like you can save your game again. Like that would be terrifying.
I think I wouldn't. If that happened to me, I think I would just stop playing the game.
Yeah, me too. That'd be like, this is too scary. This is too real. I play video games to de-stress. This is too much stress right now.
Yeah. Like that. Like I think with the save system, like you could do so many interesting things, but a lot of them are just frustrating.
Yeah, that's like one of the things like you can't mess with. Like if you mess with it too much, it's just going to make your game like unplayable.
Yeah. I think ink ribbons are probably just like the perfect middle ground, because you have a bit of stress, but it's also not unfair. And like realistically, ink ribbons will never lead to frustration if you don't save like every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I think they're close to perfect.
Yeah, and the fact that they take up like an inventory slot too, because you always kind of want to have one on you, just in case you need to save somewhere and you don't have like your item box. It's very smart. It is like a super smart thing that they thought of when they made that game.
Or like Resident Evil games are very nice to you. They like most of the time there's an item box directly next to it. And I remember in the Resident Evil remake, when going to the Lisa Trevor boss fight, there's a single not even there's an item box. Yeah, Resident Evil is very nice actually.
Yeah, but again, it's like they could do something like simple, like just not put an item box next to a save point, and it's like that changes the dynamic of the game.
Yeah, but definitely. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to like how kind of like Resident Evil kind of represents all like the different points like survival horror and how it like changed throughout the years when it got like more action oriented. How do you feel about quick time events? Because like I'm playing Resident Evil 4 and it's like they have a whole bunch of them. And it's just like, this isn't really like that scary, and it's like some of them are like an instant death if you screw up. So it's just like, I think it's more cheap than scary.
Yeah, I think like in Fury and Tiri, I have no idea how to pronounce that correctly. but like I think the idea isn't bad,
Mm.
and it's very interesting. But the actual implementation is always annoying because I actually do that too. Like when I see a cutscene, I take like my hands off the controller and everything. And like the goal is that you don't do that, but
yeah, no, it's just yeah, like I'm like that way too. When I'm not like when I'm watching a cutscene, it's just like I basically put the controller down and like get popcorn out. I'm not ready to hit a button. It's a little bit better when it's like in gameplay. Like I just fought the village chief in RE4, like that boss fight, and he has some quick time events that I screwed up every time. He'll like whack you. You have to hit like L and R at like the same time, like to dodge him. And it's just like, I think it's a little bit more fair when you're actually playing the game, but when it happens in like a cutscene, it's just like, it just feels cheap.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like you said in gameplay, for example, like when an enemy grabs you, and then you have to spam one button. I think that makes sense. Like there are games that switch up the buttons. I hate that.
Oh, that's the worst.
just have one button and stay with it. But I think that's alright. I actually like that because, like, if you don't have that, you see an enemy grabs you and then you stare at the screen for 5 seconds and then it's over again. But I like I said, I don't hate the idea of having it in cutscenes, but in like when you're actually playing it, doesn't really work. I think because it's just too annoying. And for example, with Resident Evil 4. I played it on like it's a third-person shooter, and I always play these with mouse and keyboard because I can aim like that. I can aim better like that, and they have a very weird button combo for all the quick time events. Like I don't know, I think it's like X and V or something like that, and it's
that just sounds terrible.
It's yeah, it's like it's so like it doesn't make sense, and no, I remember the worst was when they also included the mouse. Like I was just always after like the first time like pressing all the buttons on my mouse and on my keyboard. Like the Resident Evil 4 remake also has like a bit of this QuickTime events in gameplay, but I think they always use just one button. I think it's E on default, and like I'm completely fine with that. But the original Resident Evil 4 on PC, it's not nice.
Yeah,
because the button combo is just so stupid.
And it's just like, because like I remember playing the first Bayonetta, and that game has QuickTime events in the cutscenes, but I found out a trick to it, because anytime a cutscene would start, I would pause the game, and if the cutscene did not have a QuickTime event, you could skip it. But if you pause the game and you can't skip the cutscene, there's a QuickTime event coming up.
I remember like in Resident Evil 4, like when you skip a cutscene there, it just skips to the QuickTime event, and then you suddenly have to press a button in the span of half a second. Like that's smart in Bayonetta.
Yeah, no, that would be rough. Like you're just trying to like skip through dialogue, and you're just like, oh my god.
Like that happened. Like suddenly,
that's
shit! I have to press a button.
The game going like, think fast.
Yeah. Especially because like in Resident Evil 4 on PC, if you want to skip a cutscene, you just press escape. And like it's an old game, like basically you would be in gameplay instantly, but no, you suddenly are in a QuickTime event.
Yeah. And
actually, I have no idea how I did that when playing it.
And you also have to hit like 2 buttons opposite of themselves on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That'd be fun. That'd just be a fun video. Like, this is how shitty Resident Evil 4 is on keyboard and mouse.
Alright. I also remember the Krauser boss fight.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I was just spamming buttons like crazy. I don't know which. I think it wasn't V, it was C, X and C or something like that. It's just so bad.
Yeah, that even in like playing with that on like with a controller, that boss fight's insane with how many like quick times they throw at you.
Yeah. But like on PC, I didn't had problems with the difficulty, but it was just annoying.
No, anytime I
Like,
fight like second form Krauser, I always do that thing where you stun lock him like in between like the ladder, so he like jumps up and you just like knife him to death.
yeah.
I remember
Oh,
like
yeah.
my friend showed me that like way back in the day, where you just get like Krauser like stuck, and you just like knife him to death, and it's just like, oh, I am
Yeah.
never gonna fight him normal ever again.
Yeah, that's the nice part.
But that doesn't work for quick times. I can't knife the quick times to death.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and then I've actually never played the first-person Resident Evils yet. Mainly because I just hate playing games in first person, so I just haven't been like got the thing to do it. But like, I do want to play them though, so I can't really speak to like how those games were. But I don't think those games had like quick time or any weird like gameplay.
They have like the same stuff like the I2 remake or stuff like that, but nothing crazy. But because you talked about the perspective, I don't even have a problem with that or with your first person view or anything. I think, yeah, but the horrible, like, I really dislike the field of view, especially in Resident Evil 7, because it's super super close and you can't see shit.
Yeah.
I'm fine with every perspective. Like, I also never had problems with tank controls or anything, but it doesn't feel nice to play. Like, Resident Evil 7 is one of my favorites. But yeah, I would just have liked a wider POV. Like, a third person view doesn't really work because all the everything is just too small. But yeah, it's not perfect.
Yeah, well, just me personally, I just hate playing games in first person. Like, I don't like first person shooters, or just it just feels weird. I just don't ever like it. So that's a big reason why like I haven't played like Resident Evil 7 or 8 yet. But I think I probably get around to it sometime, because like I already bought the games on Steam. I got them when they were on sale, so I do intend to play them. But like, I don't know, something about like first person, like I just personally don't like it, and but I do think it would make better for like a horror type game, because I know there was like a whole, I think you said in like your like the rise and fall of like survival horror games, like there was like a whole time where like horror just kind of died, and then it came back in like this first person perspective games like Amnesia and like all these other ones. So I think it does work for like a horror type game.
Like I said, I don't really have a problem with that. I think it pretty much works most of the time. There are like people when Resident Evil 7 came out that were like, that isn't a real Resident Evil because it's in first person. Like, I don't agree with that or anything.
Yeah, no, like I could definitely like see that, but
I just forgot what I wanted to say.
That's fine.
So, I have no idea.
But yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Next point.
Speak to the first person ones.
Yeah, but
yeah, and
yeah.
Oh, what? I'll let you talk. I'll stop doing
Okay. No, Like you can actually play Village in third person. Did you consider that,
Oh,
or
you
do you want
can?
to play the? So, yeah, they're only with the DLC, and I don't like it that much because the controls are a bit weird. But yeah, you can.
Ooh, okay.
Like,
If it's only for
you
the
can look
DLC,
at
I
it.
wish you could play the main game in third
No,
person.
no, no. You can play the main game in third person, but you have to buy the DLC.
Oh, good. I have the deal. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh
I
yeah,
might I
then
might have to do
yeah,
that.
then you
Then.
can try.
Oh, you just made me want to play Resident Evil 7
Oh no, did I? Oh, you can play. Oh well,
or 8.
because 7 is only in first person, but Village is in third person.
Okay. So I think then I'll probably have to play because I'm like neurotic about that. Like I want to play games in like the sequential order. So I'll probably have to
Yeah,
like
me
muscle
too.
through 7 so I could have fun with 8.
But 7 is not that long.
Yeah, oh, I played
I
the demo of 7 when that came out, and I thought it was okay. Again, I didn't like the first person like aspect, but like I thought it was kind of scary with like you go in the house and like you're recording with a camera, and then there's like the mannequins and like the attic. It's like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, and like when I think I said it in one of my videos too. Like if you play it, the basement in Resident Evil 7 is terrifying. I think that's actually one of the worst locations for me in any Resident Evil game. Like it's
Yeah.
not even that long or bad, but it's scary.
I don't like the basement. There's no light.
Yeah.
Smells old.
But that kind of reminds me of like when I was younger, and I don't know I don't know if you have a basement or how it looks, but in Germany the basements are a bit like a bunker,
Hmm.
and I never liked it as a child, and it kind of reminds me of that.
No, I remember like my house that I grew up in. We had like a basement, and you'd go down, and the light switch for the basement was at the bottom of the stairs. So you'd have to like go in, walk down the stairs, turn on the light to the basement, and I remember being a kid, like being at the bottom of the basement stairs. You turn off the light, it all goes dark, and you had to like run up the stairs as fast as you can
Yeah.
before the demons could get you.
Yeah, but as a child, like every time I had to go in the basement, I sprint through it, took whatever I need, and then go out as fast as possible again. And it's a bit similar in Resident Evil 7.
Because there's definitely like demons and ghosts and like monsters down. There's no way there's not.
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah. And then yeah, no, that's always funny. And I like how like a game can kind of like recreate that.
Yeah.
Or even as an adult, you're just like, I don't want to be down here. Nah, screw this. And
I don't. Yeah.
oh, like another topic I'd want to talk to is like Resident Evil specific is how do you feel about like the characters in Resident Evil? Because like I think the gaming Brit brought this up is just like they're becoming such like action heroes that it's almost like not even like a horror game anymore. And it's just like I kind of agree with that because like anytime I see Leon S. Kennedy, I love that man. I freak out, and it's just like I remember watching one of like the CG movies, and it's just like Leon shows up, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
no, you're not trapped in this sub. Like Leon's not trapped in this sub with like these piranhas. These piranhas are trapped in this sub
Yeah.
with Leon. Like,
I think it's like you called them like superheroes, I think, and I think it's just like a fake because it is just like that. Yeah, I think like in the PS1 era, like not even there. Like in general, like when I think about Resident Evil characters, they aren't scared a lot. Like not even in the beginning of Resident Evil 7. Oh, you haven't played it. Oh, sorry. But,
I know he
not
like
even
loses
there,
his
or
hand and
yeah, or even like in the beginning of Resident Evil 1, like they are like, oh no, but it's not like they're terrified. And then like 2 games later, they are suddenly they have experience and they are just shooting everything.
yeah,
Like
like
it's a bit like an
oh, what?
yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I especially love, like, I don't know if you've watched any of, like, the CG Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, I watched everything apart from Dead Island.
Oh, Dead Island's actually pretty good. If you haven't checked that
Yeah,
out, you
I
should
just-
watch it.
Yeah, I wanted to do that sooner or later. I just haven't got around to it.
But, like, I remember, I forgot which one it is, but it's the one where, like, Leon's in Russia. And, at, like,
I think Damnation.
yeah, I think at the very end, it's just, like, Leon's fighting, like, one of, like, the Mr. X's. And he's, like, all mutated.
Yeah.
And, like, he ran out of bullets, and he just has, like, a knife. And then, like, the Mr. X just starts running at him. And, like, the helicopter came by and, like, shot him, like, in half. And I'm just like, the helicopter didn't. That was Leon. Leon did that. Like, it just gets so wild. It's like, these aren't even, like, humans anymore.
I think, like, the CGI movies are extremely over the top. Like, there's also in that scene where Leon just gets thrown around 50 meters or so, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna keep fighting.
Yeah, like,
they kind of did that themselves, but like these characters are just completely over the top.
yeah, no, it's just like that motorcycle scene with, like, the dogs and, like, Leon on the motorcycle where he's doing, like, gun fu and, like, driving the motorcycle with his feet. I'm just like, this guy can't be, like, you can't put him in a horror game and have him be threatened. It's just like, he's the real monster.
Yeah, but because of that, I don't even know how they want to continue. Because, like, Ethan, yeah, he is experienced, and like they have to invent someone new basically every game if they want to keep it a horror game.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really do it. Like, even I see like a trend that they are definitely going more into the action direction again.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Village and Resident Evil 4. But I feel like, I don't know what their plans are, but I think we will just see a bit of a repetition of a new character, then a more action game, then a new character, then more action.
Yeah, they just can't break that formula.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it just happens. So, like, it's even if you have like I can only imagine it, but I think, like, if you're like a soldier and you go into war, like, if you do it for like 15 years or something, it's gonna be less terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Or what I wanted to say,
well,
like, if you have you watched Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same there. Like, at the beginning, they are like, oh no, it's so scary, and 3 seasons later, they are just killing everything.
Yeah,
it just happens, and you can't do anything about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, people get used to stuff like that.
And I think it might be a thing where it's just, like, in, like, the game design room when they're coming up with, like, games, I feel like the game designers are feeling like, oh, we gotta, like, one-up ourselves. We gotta, like, have Chris punch a boulder into a volcano. Like, it's the only way.
Yeah, because that's scary.
Yeah. It's just like, there's no one on the team to be like, wait, guys, we're making a horror game.
But,
like,
this
keep going further and further.
But because I think games never, like, in a series, they never get really more scary. Like, small exceptions, like maybe Silent Hill 3, maybe, or 4.
Mm-hmm.
But usually you just have more gore. Like I think in Dead Space is probably very noticeable. Like, it starts off very gory, and then it's get even gorier, and then you had Dead Space 3. We don't talk about that, but the remake is gorier again. I think they try to compensate maybe with that.
Yeah, it just feels like once they have, like, a horror game, there's like, okay, no, now we got to make it, like, even bigger, and they get that Hollywood like budget mindset where it's like, no, we're going to go bigger and more explosions and more, and it's just like, and at some point you lose, like, because, like, survival horror is more of like a finesse. Like, it's just like you have like you can't go over the top with it, and then because, like, if you go too much, it's like it's not even like a horror game anymore.
Yeah, I think to a certain part that's possible. like for example, Resident Evil 3 actually has a lot of explosions if you count them, but like stuff like Resident Evil 6 or so is I
Resident Evil 6 feels
I
like
guess
a fever dream. Like,
yeah. Or the thing is like if you have these games, like the more action orientated the gameplay gets, the more explosions and stuff is like is present in these games.
Yeah.
I think like if I had like a game studio and I wanted to make survival horror games and I had to make a sequel, I had problems.
Yeah.
Because like it's hard to, you have to, like I think it's even the players, like for example when I started playing survival horror games, actually 4 years ago I never played one, like it's a bit more recent for me.
Oh wow.
And like the first horror game, like proper horror game I played was actually Resident Evil 4, and not even that is that bad in late 2020. And like in the beginning I was so scared and I don't even know why when looking back at it. And then I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, that was even worse. But like today, like I can play anything and I'm not scared. Like I don't remember the last time when I was really scared in a horror game.
Yeah.
There's just a player that get used to it, the characters get used to it. But but when you're like leading a studio or something, you like, how do you scare the players again? Like it must be so hard.
Yeah. And again, it's like fear is subjective too, so something that might scare someone else might not work on someone. But again, I had the same experience when I played Resident Evil 4 for the first time. I was like it was just terrifying. I took everything super slow. But now when I play it like it's Mercenaries. I'm just like running in, shooting someone in the leg, suplexing them, like, because like I know, well, one, I know what's gonna happen because like I've played through the game before, but like also I know it's just like this is the most efficient way to get through this.
Yeah.
Like
Resident Evil 4 is like when coming from no horror games at all, or like from maybe Resident Evil 2 or 3. Like it has like a learning curve where you become the action hero yourself.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
Like I think like what it would be like amazing DLC is like you take like Resident Evil 7 and you just have like the whole game, but now you play as Leon, and then, so it's just like he's just like I don't know, he's just like immediately like just cracking one-liners and like just taking out all the threats like it's like no problem.
He would just go in there, take his wife, and then leave.
Like that whole
place.
Like, you know, there's like one section where it's just like I think you're on the roof and you see like the giant vampire lady, like she does like a phone call, and then like you have to like sneak around her. Like Leon would just jump through the fucking window head first, like roll in, just be like freeze.
Yeah.
And win.
Okay. In Resident Evil 4, did you play the Resident Evil 4 remake?
Not yet.
Not. Okay, like there's one scene where he could just take a step back, but instead he like runs up the wall and does a backflip. And I always have to think because like so stupid. But it's like exactly so what he does, and like you could like now that I actually think about, like I think Leon can only ever be in a horror game like when you have him have no memories or something.
Yeah.
Like I did the Resident Evil 2 remake, so that doesn't work either anymore. But like in general, like Capcom, like it's even in the games, like compare like the beginning from Resident Evil 2 to the end. Like at the beginning they're a bit scared, and at the end you have like machine guns and cheesy one-liners and everything.
Yeah, no, you're like on a train blowing up a fucking giant blob monster thing.
Yeah, it's like just a natural progression in these games, but of course it's horrible for the horror because it doesn't work.
Yeah. It's like you can't be scared when you're playing as like basically like Superman. Like
Yeah.
it's more of a horror game for the monsters, really, when you think about it.
But I think like it's like when you exclude the characters and just, even from a gameplay aspect, like you always get more guns, more ammunition. Like I'm playing Signalis like I wrote you, and I just ignore most enemies, so I'm almost done, and I have so much ammo. And like if I have a room with a lot of enemies, I just shoot everything. It's like it's not scary anymore because like I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it's like you guys can't stop me. I'm too powerful. I saved too much.
I have 100 shots left. Get down.
Oh, yeah.
That's natural, but yeah.
Well, yeah, it's just like, again, it's like, I think horror games are very hard to make because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because they kind of go against the natural, like, game progression that you get, whereas, like, you level up, you get more abilities, you become more competent. It's hard to keep that level of, like, horror and, like, vulnerability. Like, it works against, like, the way kind of video games normally work.
Yeah. Like what I think, like, it's part of the fun to a certain part. Like obviously it's not fun if you're playing an hour and are already overpowered, then obviously not. But if you are like scared for like most of the game and at the end you get very powerful, I think that's fun. Just a bit relaxing and just
Well, I think Silent Hill kind of does this well with like not being able, like not in like a one playthrough, like your first playthrough, like when you like beat the game and then you start the game with like the bonus items. Like I know Silent Hill 3 you could play as in like a Sailor Moon outfit and you got like a sexy beam, and it's just like I think that also adds to kind of like the weird kind of bizarre horror Silent Hill has. Because it's just like you're in this awful thing, and it's like now it's silly.
Yeah, but I like that. Like I always like to play my first playthrough very seriously and scary, and then my second one is just whatever costumes are available.
Yeah, it's just you know, and but I think having. Yeah, again, I never really thought, like, how that works against, like, how, like, video games, like, normally work. It's, like, I think to make, like, a good horror game, it's just, like, you need to keep the player feeling vulnerable. But that's hard if you have, like, guns and upgrades and things like that make the game, like, easier. So I guess, like, way to compensate is to throw, like, stronger enemies at you. And then that kind of leads to, like, more of the action movie type thing. So I guess that's just like the cycle like Resident Evil falls in all the time.
Yeah, I think in general it's very hard to balance a survival horror game. Like for example, I think Code Veronica has only one difficulty in every version, and like you have to get it right because like you have to, like when you are making these games, you have to be careful that it's not too hard because then it's frustrating and not fun. But also that's not too easy.
And then it's not scary. Yeah, so it's like a very like strict balance you have to hit.
I would think like for me, like if it's too hard and I'm frustrated, then I'm not scared because like then I'm just doing the same part over and over again.
Then you're just playing a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not scary if I see the same jump scare for the 20th time. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I guess I think it's similar to like horror movies. It's just difficult to make a good one.
Yeah, it's definitely like you need to know what you're doing. You need to have like a talent and like a vision for it. And you need the skills to pull it off. So a lot of things have to like align right. But I think like but when you do it right, it like there's some of the best games you could play.
Yeah. Well, Like I think if you have like a very good survival horror game, like the flow is so good. Like when you just flowing so nice and you have key items and you know what to do and you have nice puzzles and like everything is so satisfying and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I really recommend to play Signalis because it's exactly what I have with this game. Like it's like I think many games suffer like that, just get this frustrated every now and then, like if you don't know what to do or something. But like if you know what to do, it's just also like so rewarding.
Yeah.
Like when you just have an item and you're not, yeah, that's gonna get in there and then everything just works.
Yeah, and it's like everything clicks and then you start like moving on.
Yeah.
Like, you just feel good about yourself. Like I never played Resident Evil 2 when it first came out. I watched like my friend's brothers play through it, and the first time I played through the PlayStation 1 version was like a couple years ago on my Vita, and honestly I couldn't put the game down. It was just so good. Like again, like not having that like nostalgia or having nostalgia for it. Like I remember like the playthrough, like my brother's friends watching it, but me never personally playing through it myself. Doing that on the Vita, like and it was literally like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was just, the game is just so good. Like even today, it's so much fun to play.
I think the original Resident Evil 2, it was my third Resident Evil game after Resident Evil 4 and the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I think it's actually the only Resident Evil game I completed in just one day.
Yeah,
like I
totally get that. It was so hard for me to put that game down. Like I was like solving puzzles, like moving on, like fighting enemies, getting more items, and it's just like it just had such a good like flow to it. Like
exactly. But it's like for my first time, I needed 4 hours. Like I played the PC version, so I skipped like door animations, so it was a bit faster than usually. But like you said, it was like a very nice flow. Like I think part of this are that the puzzles aren't that hard.
Yeah.
Because like that's a problem in some games. But like the music is fantastic, the locations are fantastic, the enemies are like, I don't think there's any enemy that's really frustrating. The bosses look fantastic and are super fun. Like it's just all around like one of the best Resident Evil games. And I think it's actually the game I completed the second most. Like the first one is the Resident Evil 2 remake. I played that a lot. Also the only game I have all achievements for.
Oh, good for
and
you.
I think then I have actually only 2 games where I have all achievements. The other one is the Dead Space remake, because that was kind of easy. And then the Resident Evil 2 remake. Like I have like easily 4 Resident Evil games where I'm quite close to all achievements. But Resident Evil 2 remake is the only one where I actually did it. And I think if the original Resident Evil 2 was on Steam with achievements for like forever, so that I would have played it there first, then I could see how it would be the case for that game too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you ever played play games on like emulators, but
yeah, sure. But
yeah, I think there's I forgot what it's called. It's like there's something that you can like sign into. Retro achievements.
Yeah, I know.
So you could play the original Resident Evil and like win trophies and feel good about yourself.
Yeah. Like I know about that, but I never tried it. Like I don't know if they are only with, like I think I saw the option in DuckStation, the PS1 emulator, but I'm not sure about that. And I think otherwise it's only in RetroArch. Or
I think
am I wrong with that?
I think like all you need to do is like sign up for their website, like you make an account.
Oh, you know.
And then like in DuckStation, you like log into that account, and then when you do the achievement, it'll like show up. So I think that's
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think I will take another look at this actually after this.
Yeah, it might be a good video, getting all the achievements in like Resident Evil 2 for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, will take a look at this because the thing is, like, I'm not like an achievement hunter,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they are just like a great motivation. Like when you haven't like like when I play a game, I need to do something. Like I don't like playing a game and just running around doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So the achievements are just like great. So, and for example, with Resident Evil, they are always also a challenge. Like
Yeah.
I've seen people like on social media that didn't like the time requirements. Like I think Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Village and like most recent Resident Evil games have like complete the game in under 5 hours or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen people that dislike that, but like I for my part I like it. So it's a nice challenge. And it's always nice to like progress with the achievements and get better and better.
Yeah, and they usually make you do stuff that maybe you wouldn't like normally do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then yeah, usually for me is like I'll play through a game, like usually beat it, and then I'll look at the achievement list and be like, is any of this like doable where I'm not playing?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just like if that, then I'm like, I'll try to get all of them, and then I'll either do it and like finish it or just get like bored or like tired of it and like give up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would be interested to see what the achievements were for like Resident Evil 2. I'm just trying to like think of like all the ones that you could have. And I wonder like would they do like weird stuff, like I don't know. Like did you break all the windows in this building? Cuz like I probably like would have if you could do it cuz I'm like compulsive like that.
That achievement exists in Resident Evil Village, I think. Like for the castle, there like you can break the windows, and I think there's an achievement when you break all of them, if I don't remember that wrong.
Yeah, no, if there's like
But,
boxes or like breakable stuff, like I'm not leaving that room until everything that could be broken is broken. Yeah, it's always nice to get like an achievement for that too. They're like, good job being a person who plays a video game. They're like, oh, thank you.
I remember playing Overwatch years ago when it was like very big, and you always had like the lobby before the round started, and you just had so much stuff in there, and like every round I will just go ahead and just shoot everything.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
It's just what you have to do. Like if you play it,
yeah,
it would be weird if I didn't. Yeah.
That's like same thing with resources. Like in like Resident Evil 4 has that a lot with just random boxes, and I need to break everything.
Oh, I don't.
Even if I play with an unlimited rocket launcher or something, I still want that.
Yeah, no, there's no way a box is staying intact in my playthrough. No way. I would risk Ashley's life to break a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck Ashley. No. I guess I really like just getting more resources, even if you have enough, is always the case.
Yeah, no, I like the way I'm playing like Resident Evil 4 right now. I'm playing it on an emulator, and I just want to like just breeze through it. So I gave myself like infinite ammo with all my guns. Like there's like a cheat code for that. You just like click it on.
Yeah.
So it's just like I'm just going around with like a handgun, just like and you don't even need to like reload. So I'm just like John Wicking everybody, like in the playthrough, and like I keep collecting the ammo, and then I just sell it to the merchant, and I have like $1 bazillion now. So that's fun.
I like Resident Evil 4. Like I actually only played it once completely because of my I did a second one a few years back, but at the end I was so frustrated with the island that I wanted to play something different.
Never want to do it again.
Like I really hate that island, to be honest. Like, I think in the remake it's alright. But I hate that in the original. I think it's similar with Resident Evil 5. Like, the controls and everything is not made for enemies that shoot back.
Yeah.
Like not at all, and I really dislike it. So
Yeah, like with
like
Resident. Oh, go on.
yeah, okay, like with Resident Evil 4, like I said, I love the beginning,
Mm,
but I just haven't played it that much. Like I think I played like the beginning half 3 times,
mm.
but just nothing much after that because it's just tedious,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a shame. But yeah,
Yeah. And it's just like with I think it was Resident Evil 6 where you could finally like move and aim at the same time. And it's like I hated that because like I liked how stiff Resident Evil 4 felt because it was easier to line up like headshots and like shoot where I wanted to go. But like Resident Evil 6 it
yeah,
was like harder to like get headshots off cuz like you're moving, the enemies are moving more. And it's just like I'm really compulsive. It's like when I'm aiming, it's like I can only hit them in the head. Like if I can't hit him in the head, I'd rather just not hit him at all.
but oh, that's like I think like in this first-person Resident Evil games, maybe apart from the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think it's just incredible frustrating to not hit the enemies in the head because it just feels so wasted.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why, but like the head is always good, but the rest is like, huh.
It's like why even shoot him there? Like
Yeah, exactly.
It's not gonna kill him.
Yeah.
That's like having an enemy that has a giant like pulsating eye weak spot and like you're shooting him in the foot. Like
Yeah, it's
like no.
like I think with Resident Evil 4, for example, like I like sometimes when I feel like it, I shoot the legs.
Or you want to do the suplex. Like
yeah, exactly. like that makes sense, but like I wouldn't be surprised if Resident Evil 4 is the shooter game where I hit the enemies the least in the body.
Yeah.
Like for example, like I played a few Call of Duty campaigns a few months back because I was like in the mood for it, and then I'm just shooting somewhere. Like I don't care, just like the bullets and the enemies. But like with Resident Evil and in general like the survival horror games, it's a lot different.
It's like you have to aim for the head.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Except if you're playing Dead Space.
Yeah, then you have to aim for like
everything. I think, but not the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it looks like we hit over an hour already. Damn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I guess this is actually a good spot to end it, mainly because I don't want to render out a video that's like 3 hours long. So I guess we could end it here. You're always welcome back on the show, Lorp. I had a great time talking to you. And
yeah, me too.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching, listening to us just talk about games, ramble on. And remember to follow Lorp on his channel. Link is in the description and the pinned comment. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. That helps me out. And yeah, and again, thank you again, Lorp, for stopping by and talking to me about some survival horror games.
Yeah, thank you too for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, guys, I will see you on the next one. Okay, thanks, bye. Later.
Bye.